În seara aceasta vom avea o conferință despre studiul în Belgia și l-avem alături de noi pe domnul Cornwell de la Universitatea Karel de Groote din Antwerp, Belgia. El ne va spune câteva informații necesare despre studiul în străinătate, mai exact despre studiul în Belgia și cum se aplică la universitatea aceasta. Țin să menționez că această universitate este una dintre universitățile partenere EDMUNDO, astfel că dacă sunteți interesați să aplicați la această universitate, puteți oricând să apelați la un consilier EDMUNDO și noi vă putem ajuta în mod gratuit cu întregul proces de aplicare la această universitate. O să las imediat în chat și toate canalele noastre de comunicare unde ne puteți întâlni și unde puteți lua legătura cu noi. Dacă veți avea întrebări, puteți să le scrieți în chat, iar la finalul sesiunii vom avea un Q&A în care domnul Cornwell ne poate răspunde la toate întrebările adresate lui. Iar dacă veți avea întrebări și de acum înainte, referitoare la studiul în străinătate, puteți oricând să ne contactați ca să avem mai multe discuții. Now I will switch to English back, and I will ask Mr. Cornwell to start his presentation.
Okay, I will definitely do so. So thank you very much, Alexandra. I think it's, first of all, I'm going to try and share my screen, see if that works, and then I can take it from there. Okay, share screen. This should be it. All right. Can you confirm that you can see these slides?
Yes, we can see them.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so as Alexandra has already explained, I'm here to represent the Karel de Groote University of Applied Sciences and Arts, which is located in Belgium. I will lead you through what makes Belgium a nice destination to consider when thinking of studying abroad. And I will also obviously tell you a couple of things about the university itself. I will also not forget to introduce myself, tell you who I am specifically, okay? But first things first. So I do apologize, I don't speak Romanian, but the good thing is you guys don't have to speak Belgian when you come here. So that's just one of the things I'm going to talk to you about. First things first. Oops. Yeah, okay, my slides are moving. This is our flag, and it may remind you of a different flag that I know, but I think yours is nicer. Romania's flag looks almost the same, but you have the lovely color of blue instead of black. But this is our national flag, but Belgium is a bit of a more mixed up country than this. I'll tell you more about this in a second. First things first, who am I? My name is Vince Cornwell. I am a student recruitment international office advisor. I can't see it here because it's yeah. So I do student recruitment for the international degrees, meaning English-based programs, but I'm actually also a lecturer in one of our international programs. I teach in the International Business Management program, and I'm a professor in business communication correspondence and business ethics. So if later on you have questions about this, you can always ask. So basically, I'll be doing this presentation. You can use the chat box to ask some questions, but I will not keep my eyes on the chat box continuously. So after the presentation, there will be plenty of time to answer all of your questions, okay? But if you think of something, then please go ahead. I already said something about Belgium. That's the country that is colored in red in the map of Europe that you can see on this slide. And more specifically, we are based in the city of Antwerp. And I'll be talking about these two locations. Why? Because they play a major part in the way we offer you education. And I know that many people thinking of or considering studying abroad, they think of the big players in the market, or the English-speaking countries such as the UK, the US, Canada, what have you. And that is fine. These are top countries to study in. But everybody wants something different, and everybody has a different budget. And this is why we also think that studying abroad in Belgium gives you a truly international experience at very, very favorable conditions or rates. And also these things I will go into. At our university, we've got 10,000 of reasons for you to join us, but we've trimmed it down to 7. And the first one will be the more important one of today's webinar, and that's the location. Why Belgium of all places? Why not a more well-known country? And I'll come to that. Other perks that we have to offer are relevant programs, focusing on getting you job ready, career ready, that you get know-how from professionals, so you learn from experts. There's the opportunity to stay here and work in Belgium during and after your studies. You get value for your money, and you also get the right support. So in short, this will be my run through. So first of all, location. I told you already, the city of Antwerp in a country called Belgium. Now, what is so specific about this place, apart from the pictures that I have on my slides? Well, there are several things that we can offer. Like any country, there's always interesting things to discover. And then also on a world or a global scale, you'll find that Belgium, despite it being a smaller country, plays a very important part in global economics, culture, etc. And on this here slide, you should recognize a couple of things. I'm sure that you in Romania will already recognize a couple of things. If I see pictures of Romania, I think of a couple of things. When it comes to food, I'm showing you the waffles here. I would like to say that we have great food, but I also really like Romanian food, especially the stuffed cabbage. I don't know the Romanian word for it, but I love it. But in any case, we have our Belgian waffles. I used to have a picture on here of French fries, world known all over the world. They're called French, but they don't come from France. They come from Belgium. It's the way they are cut. That's where the French adjective comes from. Yeah, because it's a French way of cutting vegetables, but they originated from Belgium. So we're very famous for our French fries or chips. But also the football team, for the people that are into sports, the Belgian Red Devils, they've been doing really well the last couple of years. Cycling is also hot here in Belgium. But if you're not so into sports, there are many other things that you may know us from. If you're into comic books, there's Tintin. If you're into other things, there's many things. But the bottom right picture features the Tomorrowland Festival. And Tomorrowland is an electronic dance music festival that's been being organized for a couple of years now and is world famous. People from all over the world, be it Brazil, China, Japan, New Zealand, they are saving up money to come here for the trip here and to go to that festival. And it's actually very close to our campus. And nice bit of trivia, it's organized by 2 of our ex-students who studied event and project management here in our university. So really cool. But Belgium itself, you saw it on the map of Europe earlier on. It's a smallish country, which has its benefits, because when you live in a small country, the distances between places are next to nothing. It's very easy to travel about in the country, but also due to its central position in Western Europe, it's very easy to travel to the neighboring countries. And on your student visa, you are allowed to do this. So you don't have to ask for a different visa if you want to go to a trip, on a trip to, for example, the Netherlands, which is a neighboring country, France. In fact, you get to travel 26 European countries for free without a visa. You're used to this because it's the same for in Romania. You don't have to have visas to come here. But we have excellent public transportation. So we see a lot of our students in the weekends using their free time to go to a trip to Amsterdam, for example. And to give you an idea, jump on a train from where we are in Antwerp to Amsterdam. It takes you a bit over an hour. That's how short the distances are. You can go to Germany, an hour and a half. You can go to France. Paris takes you nearly 2 hours on a high-speed train. You could also go to London because we have an excellent connection, the Eurostar train to London. But after Brexit, since Brexit, it takes you a bit longer to get there because now you do need to have a European passport. You don't need to have a visa as yet, but you do need to have the Euro passport instead of just the Romanian passport. Us two living here in Belgium. Yep. But so everything is very close by, and it's the excellent gateway to explore a bit more of Europe. And we see many students doing this in the weekends or in extended weekends or on bank holidays. They go to different places. Also, our capital, Brussels, which is half an hour's drive from where we are, the city of Antwerp, which is one of the largest cities in Belgium. Brussels is the headquarters of the European Union. So every important decision made when it comes to European things is made in Brussels, in Belgium. And this has attracted so many diverse people that we can proudly call ourselves super diverse in nationalities. The city of Antwerp alone has over 170 different nationalities. So people are very used to dealing with foreigners. So if you decide to come here as a Romanian student, for example, you will not be looked upon as funny. You don't have to speak the native language. And in the region that we are in, that language is Dutch. It's the same language as the Netherlands. But Belgium is divided into 3 language-speaking parts. The northern part, which is the wealthier part of Belgium, speaks Dutch. The southern part speaks French. And in the east, you also have a part, very small community that speaks German. Most Belgians are polylingual. So the Dutch speakers, they also get French in school, so they speak French as well. Some pick up German or Spanish. But everybody speaks English. So you don't need to know the language in order to come here and get by. People are happy to welcome you. They're used to dealing with international audiences. And again, you will not be stigmatized. You will not be looked upon as, oh, there's a foreigner. In fact, we do have a good rate of Romanian students already. So you won't be alone. Okay, we use English as the lingua franca, and I can speak for myself because I'm not originally from Belgium. I'm from the UK. I've lived there for many, many years, but people speak English. Okay, so it's an interesting country when it comes to Europe, and it's also interesting if you're looking for that genuine international experience because there's so many different nationalities here. And it's also one of the focuses of our English degree programs is that we teach you cross-cultural communication, because whatever you decide and end up studying, it is important to understand that doing business with someone from Belgium will be much different from doing business with someone from Germany, Romania, China, one of the many African countries in Asia, and so forth. Okay, but we immerse you immediately in very diverse groups where people from all over the world have come to study that thing that you also chose. And life in Belgium generally is good. We have a high standard of living. People here are comfortable, well off, without being extremely rich. You don't need to be rich in order to get by here. It's just that the government takes good care of the people and vice versa. People pay taxes in order to have things okay for them. And yesterday I was I witnessed a webinar by studying in Finland, which is a great country. And for people wanting to go there, I highly recommend it. And they also said, we are the happiest country in the European Union. And I want to correct them, because they are, but so are we. We were chosen along with Finland and Austria and the Netherlands as the happiest EU country. So it's happy life here, basically. We offer you a stable and safe environment. Crime rates are very low. Politics are stable. So that is something you needn't worry about when you come here. There's good infrastructure, and it's also very diverse in culture. It's a cultural hotspot with a very rich history. You can visit castles here, as you can in Romania, but there's many museums. Architecturally, there's so many things to go around, but also for young people, there's so many things to do. And you will find, as I will highlight later on, that as a student, you also have discounts for plenty of activities and visiting different places. I already told you that we have a super diverse population. This is partly because the European Union is housed here, but it's also to do with our history. We have the second largest port harbor in Europe. So this attracts a lot of logistics. So there's a lot of import-export going on. And this also brings about that there's many people from all over the world working here for short and longer periods of time. So it's not abnormal to see and hear different languages. When I take the tram to work, I can already recognize between 10 and 20 different languages spoken. There will be Japanese people on there. There will be Ghanaian people there, Russian people, people who speak English, people who speak Dutch, and so forth. It's a crossroads of Europe. Travel is very easy and very cheap, also with your student discounts. So in our city alone, Antwerp, we've got a metro network, we've got trams, public buses, but also to travel the rest of Europe, you just get on a train and very cheaply you can travel to other places. And like I said, we have amazing food. Every country says this, and I agree with this, that every country says this, especially coming from England. I think the food anywhere is better than English food. Mind you, I also have some recipes for you if you're interested in English food. But in any case, we're very famous for chocolate. Belgian chocolate is world famous, and as are the French fries and the Belgian waffles. But of course, I'm not here to talk to you about food. I'm here to talk to you about studying and what Belgium as a destination has to offer. Well, I already said a couple of things about Belgium. Let me focus now on the city that we are in. We've got many campuses in the city of Antwerp, which, as I said, is one of the largest cities in Belgium and houses the second largest port in Europe. But Antwerp has more to offer than this. It's a very vibrant, typical student city. There are many different universities here, which also means that there's a lot of things being organized for students to do here. From eateries to cafes, restaurants, bars, clubs, but also cultural activities, sports activities. And with a student card, you get discount on many of these things. So we appreciate that students often have a tighter budget than people who've been working for many years, but you can have a grand old time here on a student budget. We are also famous and known for being a fashion city. When people think fashion, they immediately think Paris, and rightfully so. But Antwerp is also known for its fashion schools, and we've got 5 of the best designers in the world housed here in Antwerp and also teaching in some of the schools. But also, what we are famous for is being the diamond capital of the world. Any diamond that you will come across in the world, anywhere, at any time, and we know that New York in the United States, for example, is also very famous for its diamonds, but any diamond you will come across will have passed Antwerp at some time. We've got a whole neighborhood where people do nothing but working with diamonds, shaping them, trading them, and so forth. And it's really interesting to see when you go on a stroll in that neighborhood. The architecture is grand. It goes from medieval architecture or medieval housing and castles to state-of-the-art, very cutting-edge, brand new architecture, and it's a nice mix. I already told you that many things are within very reachable distances: Brussels, Paris, London, and Amsterdam. Hop on a train, you're there. But when you've been looking at these pictures, you will have seen the diamond. Maybe you recognize the painter in the middle of the slide, maybe not. He's called Peter Rubens. He's a very famous painter, but I'm sure that all of you will have recognized the gentleman in the bottom of this slide, namely Kanye West. And what does Kanye have to do with Antwerp, apart from wearing that jumper that he's wearing, the hoodie that says Antwerp? Well, he loves this city so much, he's recently bought himself an apartment here, and he can be spotted on many occasions. I have yet to run into him, but I'm sure that when I do, he will say hello to me. That's the kind of bloke he is. But just to say, so even for an American rap artist who is world famous, Antwerp found a place in his heart, and that's for good reason. It's cool to be here. Also important to talk about is the elephant in the room, COVID, Corona. Globally, we are still having to deal with this enemy. I call it an enemy because it is. It's restricted us all over the world for such a long time, and it seems that things are not over yet. Right now in Belgium, and I have to be honest, we are still back to, I'm here on campus, but I'm alone in the room, but when I meet colleagues, I wear the mouth cap. But we are still free to go to the shops. Musical concerts are still being organized. We can go to restaurants, but we have to show that we've either been vaccinated on our mobile phones with a COVID safe pass, or you have to do a test 24 hours before you go somewhere. Safety first, right? But the good thing is that over 90% of people in Belgium have been vaccinated, which is an extremely high rate. And even though we're experiencing a new surge, so the numbers are going up again of people infected, because of the vaccinations, people are not being hospitalized so much. So we are safe. People are still getting ill, but not extremely. It's not that the mortal rates are sky high. So relatively safe, but still better safe than sorry, and people are taking precautions. At campus, momentarily, we are still teaching on campus, but we are asking people to wear the mouth caps, to disinfect their hands, and so forth. And if you have any symptoms, then please stay home. We are still offering a hybrid form of teaching, which means that you can follow classes on campus, but there's also a fair share being dealt with online. And then our university itself, Karel de Grote. It took me a long time to be able to pronounce that name. Is basically translates as Charlemagne, which is Charles the Great. And why did we choose that name? Well, the only reason that I can think of is because Charlemagne was one of the characters who initiated modern education, but it's just a name, okay? What is important is that we have relevant programs that get you career ready and develop know-how. We are a university of applied sciences and arts. And for the people that don't know what this entails, a uni of applied sciences and arts deals with bachelor programs. We do not offer master's degrees. We focus on getting you ready in 3 years' time. You get a bachelor's degree and you have a very, very high chance, and I'll tell you later on how high that chance is, to land a job immediately after. So we don't do a master's. However, it is possible if through your studies you find, I think I want to pursue my studies after this. You can go for a master's degree still, but then you need to go to one of our partnering universities, which I will also tell you about. So how does it work? KDG offers you a professional bachelor's degree. 3 years of full-time studying, focusing on getting you career ready, professional, practical approach instead of nose down in the books, like in research universities that offer you master's degrees. We teach you by doing, by working on projects, by learning from experts, learning on genuine tasks, getting you career ready. We offer you internships, etc., getting you ready for the job market. Or, like I said, if you, after your studies, do still want to go for a master's degree, and we have plenty of students doing this, you can then go to a research university. If you stay in Belgium, that would cost you 2 extra years. So 1 year is a bridging program, getting you ready for the way they teach in these research universities, and then a master's year. But many of our students also go for the extra international experience, and they go to one of our neighboring countries, and there a master's degree takes you only 1 extra year. So if you play your cards right, you can be a master in 4 years, or a bachelor in 3 years, or staying in Belgium, bachelor in 3 years, or master in 5 years. Okay, so those are your options. What else? Like I said, applied sciences and arts means that we are practice-oriented. I went to a research university and I found myself nose down in the books for 4 years. Yeah, so you learn a lot, you have to theoreticize, you have to go through piles and piles of books, which is nice, or not. It makes sense if that is what you want to do, but we really focus on those students that want to learn real stuff, yeah, rather than learning by building up experience once in the work field, and after 5 to 10 years you can find that, yeah, I've learned through working. We immediately start working on projects, often in collaboration with organizations. So it's very future-proof. It's bound to find you and land you a job. You learn by doing. And typical for universities of applied sciences and arts, contrary to research universities, we are not ranked. So I cannot tell you we are number 2 in the world, we're number 3. Obviously, I'd like to think we are the best, but I'm realistic. We are not. We are one of many possible choices. But I can tell you about the Belgian research universities. Many of them do rank very highly. So maybe this can reflect on the universities of applied sciences and arts as well. So you gain work experience while you are studying. It's a practical approach, and you also go on an internship, especially in the last year. You do an internship for a couple of months, and mostly during your internship, before you graduate, people already offer you a job because we have good relations with these companies we work with, and they see the potential. They see that hiring an intern once they graduate is much more worthwhile than having to train someone again after an application process. We also focus on smaller classes. When I was a student, I was in this auditorium, or aula, as we say, and there were about 300 students. No professor knew my name. I teach in the International Business Management program myself. I know all of my students. Even if I have hundreds, I know all of them on a first name basis. It does take me a while, I must say. It does take me a couple of weeks, if not months, to recognize everyone's name. But we believe that working smaller scale is better for that hands-on preparation that you do. So the lecturers are very approachable. We know you on a first name basis, and this way we can give you a very intense or intensive type of support. We give you feedback on what you do. We coach you inside and out of the classroom. And this is something that we are really proud of. This is a number from 2019, because 2020, because of COVID, was a bit more difficult. But all of our graduates in 2019, the ones that decided not to study further, they all landed a job within 3 months after graduation. And that is something that we can be extremely proud of. So if you're looking for something future-proof, definitely worth considering. I already spoke about Antwerp. It's a great European port city, and the city is built on innovation and business. Also, we focus on a circular economy, so there's a high focus on sustainability, also something that you cannot neglect these days. So circular economy, there's retail fashion, there's the World Diamond Capital, there's the World Port City, but there's also many other innovative things being set up. There's many startup companies, so hip and trendy things going on, and there's budget for that. You can get subsidized as a starting up company. There's also oil and chemical industry going on here as well. So this brings about many business and job opportunities. Now, the programs that we offer in English, because we are a fully fledged university, we have 14,600 students, and this number is ever growing, of which about 1,500 are international. Currently, we have 110 nationalities approximately on campus amongst these international students, which is quite many. And this is the ideal environment to teach you how to communicate culturally, interculturally. Because like I said earlier, life is more than just dealing with Romanians. There are so many people in the world. And if you really want to make it in whatever you do, it's good to understand that people have different notions and different preferences. The ones that we offer, so like I said, we offer tens and tens and tens of programs, but many of them are in our native language, which is Dutch. However, the ones I'm here to promote are listed here, and that is Applied Computer Science, which in a nutshell teaches you everything there is to know about computer science, information technology, with a strong focus on on artificial intelligence. So it's state of the art. It's a well-founded program. It has existed for over 50 years. This was before people had personal computers. This program was teaching people how to program on paper already, the Dutch variant. And now, since a couple of years, we've introduced the English variant. So it's very, very, very full of expertise. And another nice thing about this program is that within the 3 years that you study it, you will learn to work on different levels within a company. The first year, you become a so-called employee in a simulated company working on applied computer science. In the second year, you take on a more managerial function within this company. And then third year, you become one of the board of directors. So that apart from learning everything there is to know about your computer, you graduate having felt what it's like to work on the various levels of this specific terrain, so that you can still decide, yeah, I want to work for someone, I want to start up my own business, or I want to be a manager in applied computer science. Then we have our longest running program, which is International Business Management. This is the one that I teach in as well. And this comes with 3 specializations. Global business is the more all-round version of the program. This means that you get a touch of everything, or a taste of everything there is to know about doing business globally, so that when you graduate, the world is your oyster, and you can still go into many different fields. If you study marketing, you probably end up in marketing. If you study sales, you'll probably end up in sales. But if you study global business, you can do whatever you want, because you've had a bit of marketing, a bit of sales, a bit of IT, a bit of I don't know what. Yeah, so there's many different subjects in that program. The second specialization is global supply chain management. I already mentioned that we have the 2nd largest port of Europe, so there's a lot of logistics going on. Global supply chain management teaches you anything there is to know about logistics, import, export, warehouse management, whatnot. And it's truly a bottleneck profession. So people studying this are sure to find jobs. And the third specialization is international entrepreneurship. And this focuses on setting up your own business, doing business globally. So you will get trained and coached by people who have their own businesses, and your graduation project will also be setting up your own business if you haven't done so already. And then you get trained in that, etc., etc. So it's very hands-on. We have a careers lab. We have many experts in the field that can help you. And we are very proud to boast many highly successful graduating students that have great businesses right now. And the third and last program that we offer in English is called Multimedia and Creative Technologies. And this is basically a mix between technology, creativity, and strategy. And it always sounds a bit woolly when I explain this. This is really for people who have a knack for technology. It involves a virtual reality, it involves holograms, robotics. But how can I explain that mix of strategy, creativity, and technology? Well, for example, you've got the idea, you want to create an app. Okay, you get taught this. You end up with an app, but it looks really dull, ugly. Nobody wants to use it. So you dress it up nicely. Graphic design, software engineering, 3D design, etc., makes you create a beautiful looking app. Then you end up with a nice looking app, but at the end of the day, you want to make money from this. So how do you do that? Well, that's where strategy kicks in. Marketing. How do you get people to use your app? How do you get people to use your website? How do you get people to buy your robot? So it's interweaving into this project or program where you work in projects and you learn a lot about multimedia and creative technologies. I told you already something about the internships that we offer. So international internships in every program. We've got over 500 European partners that we work with. We've got more than, these days, 34 non-European partners, but we're always open to welcoming new partners. And every year, many of our students do their internships anywhere in the world. We've got people in Australia, we've got people in China, Japan, but we also have people closer to home, Germany, the Netherlands, and so forth. So we help you with this, but if you happen to have an uncle or auntie in the United States, then you can also write them a letter and say, look, do you have any companies nearby where I can possibly do an internship. So we help you with this, etc. So coming here to this small European country of Belgium, you can have a truly international experience. It's super diverse. You do an internship abroad, you come here, that's already going abroad. And if you play your cards right, there's also the Erasmus program that also takes you abroad in the 2nd or 3rd year. So you can end up having studied in 3 or 4 different languages and still getting a degree of KDG, Karel de Grote University. You can stay and work here. During your studies, you're allowed to work 20 hours a week. This is tax-free. You're allowed to work more, but then you have to pay taxes. But tax-free is the better option, and this is what many of our students do. In the weekends, for example, they work in a restaurant or in a cafe to either help pay for their studies or treat themselves to something nice. We've got very nice stores here for the people that like shopping, fashion city, so there's plenty to go around. After your studies, with your student visa, you are allowed to stay for at least 1 year to look for a job or to do other things. When you land a job, you can change your visa into a working visa, and then you can stay for longer. We have a career center, we organize job fairs, so we help you with finding work. And like I said, very proud of our 100% employment record. And then here's the thing. People always want to know how much it costs. Well, it costs for non-European citizens a bit over 6,000 euros, which to international standards is very accessible. But given that you're Romanian, many of you, most of you, you only pay 950 euros as an EEA citizen per year. And this is really, really accessible. Why is this? Well, because we get subsidized by the government. We are a public university. This means that people pay taxes here in Belgium so that people can study here without our having to charge the full amount to students. So this is a very sharp price. This is because Belgian government believes that education should be open to everyone. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you can afford 10,000, 20,000 euros. We only ask this because we can. The cost of living will be between 800 and 1,000 euros per month. This is housing included. Yeah. To give you an idea, student housing will vary between 250 and 450 euros, depending on what you are looking for. If you're looking for that jacuzzi in your student room, then obviously you will be paying more than if you share a house or apartment with some other students. We give you a diploma in 3 years' time if you study right, and with a very high chance of landing you a job. We don't offer, and this is another question that we sometimes get, we don't offer scholarships. And why not? Well, because of our accessible tuition fees. Often, if you compare us with universities that do offer scholarships, you will find that you will still end up paying more at these universities than paying our full tuition fee as 950 euros. So we consider this, because of government funding, a scholarship for everyone. Hence, we don't offer any further diminution of this. And what do you need in order to register for our university? Well, equally, we are still very thoroughly believing in the fact that education should be open for everyone. So we don't look into grade averages. This is very important to notice, because many universities do, and they may, but we don't, because we have often seen that the high flyers, the people with the high grades in secondary education or in high school, are not necessarily the best students in higher education, and vice versa. We see students that weren't good in high school all of a sudden maturing and really getting a likes for the higher education and becoming top students. So we don't care about grades. You do have to have a diploma that allows you to pursue higher studies in your own country. And if that is the case, then we accept it too. Then you can come here. And we do test your level of English. We've set the bar at a B2 level, and we accept IELTS tests, TOEFL test, Cambridge, but also Duolingo, which is a lot cheaper than IELTS and TOEFL. And we've started accepting this during COVID, but we will extend this. We will keep on accepting this. It's a good language test. And if you have a score of, I think by heart, but you can always contact the agency for this. But I think it's 105 that your score needs to be with minimum subscores of 90 on the Duolingo test. You can find all this information on the website, but also via the agency. Apart from this, we appreciate that you make the move to study abroad. So this is already something adventurous. So we don't want you to end up here feeling alone or not finding your way. So when you're here, we also have your back. We offer support in just about anything. So you will come to campus. It's not online learning. You will come here and go to school. We care for your student life and well-being. There's many initiatives being taken. There are student groups, international student groups. If you want, we can buddy you up to international students who have already been here for some time, whether Romanian ones or others. We coach you, we counsel you also for well-being. If you are feeling alone, if you are being stressed, there are services for you. There's an International Student Council, so you have your say in what goes on campus at the university, and there's many of live events. We've even introduced an app, JoinBee or JoinBuy, and this is like student Tinder, and this is not for romantic relationships per se, but this can hook you up to other students doing stuff in Antwerp and getting to know people. So it's very, very up to date in what you can do.
Zic, acum am venit.
Sorry? I heard a question. Well, in any case, after this presentation, we'll be doing a Q&A. So you can type some questions in the chat box, and then afterwards you can ask me questions directly if you want. Where's my cursor? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and this is just something I want to show you. This is a survey that we did about student well-being and the scores that they gave us. I look forward to the upcoming month at KDG. This was before they were here. They scored a 9 out of 10, so they were really enthusiastic on getting here. And then also, if you look at the score for, I would recommend others to study at KDG, they also gave a score of 8.7, which is almost a 9. So people are generally quite content being here. Also, when you look at the other questions here, but I'm not going to go over all of them. One of the final things I'd like to say is that we also have our student services team that help welcoming and support you. Before the year starts, we have pre-arrival support and webinars. So we give a lot of information online on what it's going to be like, the process, etc. We organize welcoming days or a welcoming week before the academic year starts to show you around town, to show you around the campus, to take you out for drinks, etc. Do some fun activities so that you already can make some friends. We help you find accommodation. The campus itself, we don't have our own accommodation, but given that Antwerp is typically a student city, there's a lot of privately owned student housing available, and we help you in finding this even before you are here. So student services people, they ask about the budget, they look for rooms, etc. They communicate to you what the possibilities are so that you can find a room before you are here. They help you find landing your residence permit, and they also can help you with your proof of solvency procedure, which is sometimes needed for a visa, but I don't think it's essential for Romanian students. You don't necessarily need to do this. And when can you sign up? Well, we have only one intake, and that is in September. So the next intake, or the next academic year, will start in September 2022, but admissions open in 1 month's time. We are now November, so in December admissions open, and they end in June 2021, but can be extended until end of August 2021. And you can apply, obviously, via our partners who are organizing this wonderful webinar here this evening. And they can also ensure you that you get a fast track through our admissions procedure. And that is basically my story. I know I'm a bit of a motor mouth. I've given you a lot of information, but I'm very happy to answer any questions right now. So I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll open up the chat box. I'll go over the questions there, but feel free to also unmute and ask your questions through the microphone. Stop share. There. Okay. So the first question that I'm reading is, what are the programs for arts? I was fearing this question, Richard, because the arts programs decided not to step into the field of international promoting, meaning that I don't have all the information on it. Why have they decided this? Because they fill up very easily. But I can send you the link, kdg.be/en. This is the link to the website of our university. And if you do some browsing there, you can also find more information on the arts programs. There are 2 masters in arts. I think one is in visual arts and the other one is in I don't know by heart, but in any case, Arts Academy is a school that we've merged with. And so they do have very interesting programs, but unfortunately, I don't have all the information. Okay. And the same I see here, programs in visual art. So yes, they are there. The same in acting. Acting we don't offer. I do know that we offer degrees in visual arts, but that is St. Lucas that you need to look for. So we are KDG. Our arts department is called St. Lucas, Antwerp. And if you Google that, and maybe after the questions, I can also drop a link in here, you will find more information on the arts programs. Okay. Gloria, sorry, Alex first asks biomedical science bachelor programs. Well, Alex, there are definitely some biomedical science bachelor programs in this country, but not at our university. But I would advise you to have a look again on Google, because we have many good universities that do offer this. The first one that I can think of, I'm not entirely sure if they do this, but is the KUL, which is the University of Leuven. And wait, I'm typing it in the chat box there. They rank very high as a university in the world, and I think they do have something called biomedical engineering. So if you want more information on that, it's not our school, but it's a really, 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 really good school. And you can find more information via Google as well. The application process, Gloria wants to know, is very straightforward. So once admissions open, you can apply via the website. So you go to kdg.be/en. And you go to the English programs, you click on the program of interest, and there it leads you very straightforwardly to the application process. We also have a video clip on the website that talks you through the process, and is basically uploading your documents, so your degree and the proof of language proficiency, and then it's paying the fees, answering some questions, and basically you're in. It's a very fast and flexible, fluent application process. Then what kind of previous experience is needed to be admitted for applied computer sciences? Aha, okay. So indeed, you say besides a high school diploma and English proficiency proof, basically, Maria, that is everything. It is true that if you have some prior experience, it will be easier if you already know a bit of coding, but basically they start from scratch. I know from the program itself that they do ask for people that have a feel for algorithms. For example, you walk into a room or a marketplace, and you immediately sense what could be improved or what goes better, etc. It's that kind of mindset that you need to have, so that you see patterns, that you like patterns and algorithms. But for the rest, you don't necessarily need to have already studied computer science. If you're a regular student, go to the classes regularly, you can keep up with anything that is taught as they start from the very beginning. Okay. Then if I were to study at KDG, could I go to an internship in the UK? Yes, absolutely. The only thing with the UK, Anastasia, is that you will need to find or get a new visa for it, because yeah, studying in the UK is a bit more complex since Brexit. They don't give you a hard time, and that visa is very easy to acquire. But on a European student visa, you cannot just go study in the UK. So you can go on an internship. Each year we still have students doing this, but you need to have your visa rechecked. But also student services officers help you with that. And like I said, I'm from the UK originally. I know for a fact that they're not giving our students a hard time. I still travel there regularly, and yeah, apart from what you see in the news and Brexit, this and that, we're still very, very friendly to each other. So it shouldn't be a problem. Okay. So Stefan, you want to know whether there is a law program. What paperwork do you need? We do have a law program, but that's in our native language, which is Dutch. So we don't have a law program in English yet. You do get a bit of law in the International Business Management program, but not a law program in full. The paperwork that you need is just your, you do need your identification, and a baccalaureate diploma would be okay, but you would also need to have your proof of language proficiency. If you go for the English programs that I'm promoting here today, it is the B2 level of English that you need to prove via IELTS, TOEFL, or any other type of language test. But for the rest, there's not more paperwork needed. The languages that are used in the universities. The university that we are in is Dutch speaking for most of its programs. The programs that I was here to talk to you about today, they are all in English. It is true that in Belgium people speak French as well, but at the start of my presentation today, I also pointed out that the French-speaking part of Belgium is in the south. So you can go to universities there, and I advise you, if you do speak French, try and find them. So just Google studying in French in Belgium universities, and you have many good universities there. There's the ULB, Université Libre de Bruxelles, but there's many more. There's one in Louvain-la-Neuve and other parts in Belgium where they do speak French. Richard has looked into the visual arts program. Oh, bless you, Richard, for finding it so quickly. And it is indeed, it's exclusively for masters. So the arts programs, if you want to study those, you should already have a kind of a bachelor degree in arts or in visual arts. So they are the extension to those. So they do the master's programs. Architecture. Yeah, architecture we actually do offer, but we do offer in Dutch, so not in English. So like I said, fully fledged university we are, but we have a limited resource in the English programs. It's growing every year, so we hope to, in a couple of years, have a couple of more English programs. But for the time being, architecture is not in there. Cambridge exams we do accept as valid language exams, as long as you reach the B2 level minimum. Okay. Another question from Anastasia. If I have a bachelor's degree in applied computer sciences, can I continue with the master in the media and creative technologies? Well, Anastasia, basically, if you have a bachelor in applied computer sciences, you can go on to a master's degree. However, we do not offer a master in media and creative technologies. That is also a bachelor's degree. So what you can do then is do a bachelor after bachelor. It's a thing that we do, and it will even allow you to fast track the program probably, meaning that you don't have to do the full 3 years of media and creative technologies. Often you get many exemptions because you've had similar courses, and then you can, for example, do the program in 1 year or 1.5 years. But if you choose to or find a master in media and creative technologies elsewhere, then obviously after our bachelor's program, you can also still pursue that. Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very insightful, easy to follow, and the information is very clear. I announce you that we still have 9 minutes. If anyone has any question, please write it down on chat box so we can answer. I will write also the channels where you can find us. We can help you apply to this university if you are interested. And I do also have a question for you,
Okay.
Mr. Cornwell. Regarding the transportation card, do the students have any discount?
So discount on public transport, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So depending on what their aspirations are, they can definitely on buses, if they go for a what's it called again? If they want to have a bus pass for a half a year or a year, it gives an extensive discount, definitely, because normally people would pay a couple of €100, but for students, often it's not even €100. And it's the same for train. It's also to use the train to travel Europe, because I said earlier that it's very simple to go to neighboring countries or even further if you have holiday, for example. And then they also get discounts for the train tickets or the train passes. So yeah, they definitely do.
Okay, thank you.
And I saw some questions coming in. Elena wanted to know, if I don't yet have my baccalaureate diploma, can I still apply and submit later? Yes, Elena, and I'm very happy that you asked that question because, yeah, you can already apply. As you saw, the applications open in December, and you can already get the application process rolling and say, I will graduate then, but I'm doing this already. And the people of EDMUNDO will obviously help you with this. They also know this and they can always contact us with this. But yes, you can already apply if you don't, or if you haven't graduated yet. Absolutely. And Gloria wants to know how students can find accommodation. Well, I said in the presentation that the university itself, so our university, we don't have our own accommodation, but the city that we're in, the city of Antwerp, is a student city, and there's plenty of privately owned accommodation available. We have a database of these places, and our student services people, they help you with this. So you either ask EDMUNDO to help you. The people we work with in Romania, or you ask student services, but it's always best to go via EDMUNDO. But we will bring you in touch or put you in touch with people here that can list up according to your budget what the available housing or rooms are, and they will then communicate on your behalf, or if you're already here, they can go there with you or give you the address, etc., because we have a database of all the good housing that is available. So you will definitely not be on your own, and it's very possible to find housing from anywhere you are in the world. We had Korean students last year not having been here, and we found them perfect housing. They're very happy with it, but of course it's also nice when you can already see it. So if you're here or can make it here, then we can make set up appointments, right? Stefan, you want to know if we meet the admission requirements, high school and English exam, then are we automatically admitted, or is there a selection based on our application? Well, like I said earlier, there's no selection. We don't refuse any students. We don't look into grade averages. And even though if you're a top student, of course, it's nice to be acknowledged for your hard work and your great grades. But we believe that education should be open for everyone. So if you meet the admission requirements, then it all boils down to being able to pay for the studies. So you need to pay your tuition fee and get your student visa sorted. But that is basically it. There is no selection whatsoever. You will be asked to write a motivational letter, but even that, we will not say, oh, this motivation is much better than the next one. We accept everybody because education should be open rather than elite. That is our frame of thinking. And the same for you, Daniela. What academic scores should I have to be admitted? It's the same answer. Even though we appreciate your hard work and everybody is aiming to do as well as they can, in the past we saw that many students that didn't score that well in high school became great students in higher education because they matured. And many students that were top students in high school do not do well because they party too much in higher education. So we thoroughly believe that everybody should have a chance. So we will look into the grades just to get an idea of what type of student you are, but we will not hold it against you. If you have your secondary school degree or high school degree, you can get in if your English is good enough. Okay. Any further questions?
Can students pay the tuition in installments, or they have to pay the tuition all at once?
Preferably, they should pay the tuition all at once, so in one go. And given that it's not the highest amount, like I said, it's one of our USPs. Definitely, it's very accessible. We'd rather have it in one go. We used to have it in installments, but I recently had a meeting with the people of admissions, and they are stepping away from it. So they should pay it all at once. And then Stefan also has a question. Is it like that all around Belgium or just for one university? Well, and Richard asks the same. No, it's not the same in the whole of Belgium, because we have both public universities and private universities. Private universities are typically the ones that you pay a lot more money for. I'm not going to speak badly of them because they are great universities as well, but that is the bigger difference. So a private university asks for a lot of money and selects on grades. We, as a public university, are open for everyone. And that is the biggest distinction that we have. When it comes to level of education, it's very comparable. But when it comes to naming, and some people are into names and are quite elitist in thinking, then they would like to go to these universities with a great names. Coming from the UK, for example, I used to work for the University of Oxford, by the way, and Oxford is something that people, wow, I want to study in Oxford, or I want to study in Cambridge, or when it comes to the American universities, I want to go to Yale, I want to go to Harvard. But having worked for Oxford University, I now work for this university, and I see little differences. I mean, yes, the buildings, etc., in Oxford may be very pretty and it has got this grand reputation, but any school can be good. It depends on where the heart is. And that is why we as a public university, open ourselves up for everyone and give everybody a chance. Daniela, for the accommodation, can we pay monthly? Yeah. So that is what Alexandra also just asked as a question. So also accommodation. Accommodation, normally you pay on a monthly basis. That's right. So it's not like the tuition fee. Accommodation, each month you need to pay for the cost of living. It could be sometimes that people ask you to pay 3 months in advance. Yeah, but normally it's on a weekly, monthly basis that you pay your accommodation. Haha, and then Stefan, a very good question. What is the salary for a part-time job usually? Can we cover our rent? Given that you can only work 20 hours a week without taxes, if you go over that, you will need to pay taxes. I don't think it will be enough to cover the rent and your living costs. It's a nice add-on. Many of our students do it. So they get sponsored from home, or they have a starting budget, and then they do work in the hospitality sector, for example, the restaurants and the bars and the cafes. And then you can cover quite a lot, not everything. What is typical of that sector, but I would not like, I know this is being recorded, I have to be very cautious, but what a lot of students do is they do work in the hospitality sector, and some of it is off the record. We do not endorse this, but we know it happens. And then they work more than 20 hours and then they earn a lot more. But this is obviously, it's considered illegal. Even though it's common practice, it's considered illegal, so we do not endorse this, but we are aware of that this does happen. Utility bills included in the rent, like gas and water and electricity, normally they are, and otherwise it's stated in the agreement that you sign. Does the high school program you followed in Romania matter when applying to any of the bachelor programs listed? Well, it depends. It doesn't really matter. It could be that you've studied something vocational. It could be that you studied something technical, or something like a grammar school that you studied what's it called, academic subjects. It doesn't really matter. Obviously, it could interfere with your passing chances. So the better you are acquainted with working with books, etc., the easier it will be to do higher education. But that said, we're a university of applied sciences, so we also focus on learning by doing. So oftentimes, the majority of our students, they come from a technical stream. They have a technical background, and they do really well. But we also have people that studied vocational studies and also people that studied the more academic listings.
Thank you very much. I have to say that we have to end this conference because we have to prepare the room for the next conference. Thank you very much for the discussion, for answering the question. It was very interesting to follow. And I hope that we can send a lot of students to your university. And I'm looking forward to the next conference.
Okay, well, thank you, Alexandra, and thank you to the people of Edmundo and Educativa. Thank you for setting this up. Students that still have questions, you can see that Alexandra has filled in the details where you can contact Edmundo and Educativa. They are great partners of ours. They have already sent us many Romanian students. They're very happy here. So any questions, please do be in touch with them, and they can always pass you on to us as well. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evenings.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.